My path is like a shining light, shines brighter and brighter. Dark days are turned into brighter days. Tough times are turned into awesome times. Lonely nights become joyful nights. Financial lows become financial highs. Why so? Why so? Advancement is God's idea for me. Advancement, advancement, advancement is God's idea for me. Advancement, advancement, yeah. But I refuse to be stagnant. I choose to flow in the surplus of God. Oh, advancement is God's idea for me. Advancement, advancement, advancement is God's idea for me. Advancement, advancement. Advancement is God's wisdom. Advancement is God's idea. Advancement is God's thought for me. Advancement. For my path is like a shining light. Shines brighter and brighter. Dark days are turned into Dark days are turned into brighter days. Tough times are turned into awesome times. Lonely nights become joyful nights. Financial lows become financial highs. Why so? Why so? Advancement is God's idea for me. Advancement, advancement, advancement is God's idea for me. Advancement, advancement, yeah. But I refuse to be stagnant. I choose to flow in the surplus of God. Oh, advancement is God's idea for me. Advancement, advancement, advancement is God's idea for me. Advancement, advancement.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Advance Your Life Coaching Program with Dr. I. Welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome, everybody. Yes, yes, yes. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, go ahead and share it and let it be known that this program is going on right now. It is the Advance Your Life Coaching Program, and it's a continuation of our current talking point and emphasis. I just wrote a new book, The Advanced Coaching Formula, and it's trending, and we are going to be talking a lot more on the need and necessity for coaching. The Christian man and the Christian woman needs coaching. Coaching. We haven't talked so much about this, but it is necessary, especially advancement coaching, Christian life coaching, and all forms of coaching. So it is very, very needful for you to pay attention, because this is one of those strategies of God that activates our values with velocity. Yes, when we receive training or sermons or messages, we get to see the value we carry. But why is it that many do not find it easy to implement? The answer is simple. Just like somebody asked me some time ago, he said, Dr. Ike, why is it that, I'm a Christian, and I have a pastor, my pastor preaches real good. Then he said, and I go to church, why do I need a coach? I said, it's not an either or thing. You need the pastor, you need a coach. Some pastors are coaches, some pastors are not coaches. Some coaches are pastors, some coaches are not pastors. It's a great day if you find one that is both, but certainly you need both. You see, so it's not an either or thing. You need both. You need both. And why is that? The answer again is simple. Pastors give inspiration. Coaches give implementation. Can I say that again? Pastors give inspiration and coaches give implementation. Now, it is one thing to be so overtly inspired, but if you don't move beyond that zone of inspiration to get to that point or place of implementation, nothing happens. And that is why Jesus said that it is the doers of the word that are those who actually have received his wisdom, the one who does my word. Can you see that? So, and that is a place of implementation. Now, it is one thing to get so inspired on a Sunday morning, and all of us we feel that inspiration, that anointing, that glow, but what if we're not able to sustain it the next day on a Monday morning? Why is it that people wake up, the same person who was inspired on a Sunday gets up on a Monday morning and doesn't want to go to work, doesn't want to go implement all of the things they've heard? Why? And that is a place of coaching. And that is what we do here. And that is why I need you to pay attention, all right? Pay attention and follow through on what we are saying here today. So pastors give inspiration and coaches give implementation. Now I'm going to tell you a story. It's a story of an event that happened in a little town years ago. In the beginning, in that town, there was so much confusion, something was going on, and so much confusion. It was a chaotic situation. Everybody was talking in loud voices, loud tones, so much argument. Nobody was ready to listen to anybody. Then out of that confusion came a man just wearing plain sandals. And he stood on a pulpit and raised his hand and said, calm down, everyone, calm down, everyone. Instead of doing it this way, why don't we just do it this way? Instead of talking this way, why don't we just talk this way? Instead of screaming at each other and heading nowhere, why don't we do it this way? Instantly, people began to respond to that question. Why don't we do it this way? Why don't we do it this way? That is rudimentary coaching. In other words, he coached them into clarity and direction with a question, why don't we do it this way? Now, That man in a sandal that walked up could be a wise elder in your village, because we find them everywhere. That is rudimentary coaching. Rudimentary coaching. And it's been there since time immemorial. Whether he was a wise elder in a village, or a bearded philosopher in a toga, or your uncle who thinks he knows everything, humans have always had a soft spot for guidance. Human beings, including me, including you, we have a soft spot for guidance. And one of the best forms of guidance that we can ever receive is that of a coach. You see, and what a coach does basically is more of asking your questions, and you begin to draw out of yourself the answers that you already have. You see, it is not exactly like mentoring, because a mentor is somebody who has done something and he's telling you his own exact experience and probably wants you to do it that way or learn from it. But you see, in coaching, we are bringing out your own experience from you. You see, we are bringing your own uniqueness, your own person, and you become the real participator. Can you see that? And when that happens, you take responsibility so easily, and that is exactly what coaching is. Coaching is not mentoring. I just gave you a difference. Coaching is not even therapy. In therapy, you go to the background of the person, the childhood of that person, and sometimes you use medications if it's a professional. But in coaching, you are focused more about the future of that person. Oh, all of that happened, yes. But from now, where are we heading? Can you see that? Crucially important. So now, from the days of the man who stepped out in sandals to control that crowd with that question, you can fast forward a few centuries later. We have people like Socrates, who actually began to coach people in his days and created what was known as the Socratic questions. And in his own case, he initiated coaching through questions, and his questions were known as the Socratic questions. And through those questions, he was able to lead people to their own insights, to their own understandings of what was already in them. Can you see that? All right. So now, but the term coach, like we use the word coach now, actually came from the 1830s in Oxford, England, where it was then a slang for a tutor who was helping students pass exams. So that tutor is helping that student pass exams, and he was called a coach. And the idea was simple, just like a stage coach. You know what a stage coach is? Like that coach that drives, that carries loads. You know, he moves people from place to place. So the coach basically helps you move from where you are to where you want to be. From that place of being stuck, like we do in advancement coaching, to the place of advancement. Like Moses moved people from Egypt to Canaan land. You see, that is coaching. So coaching as we know it today essentially took shape in sports. Like if I talk about a football coach, a soccer coach, it's easy for us to relate to that because we know what that means literally. So coaching as we know it today took shape in sports after the dusty days in Oxford, England. Then in the game of sports, every team needed a coach. You find that coach, sometimes the coach had not even played soccer himself. Sometimes the coach doesn't even know how to play so much of soccer, you see, but he had studied coaching and he can coach the players. Sometimes the coaches are retired soccer players themselves. Some won tournaments, some never won any tournament. And but the important thing is that that coach is able to do the job. So every athlete, here's my point, had someone screaming from the sidelines, not playing the game, but influencing how it was played. That individual is not playing the game, is not in the field, but is running around. Like in the days of Nigeria, we had this very popular coach, Clemens Westerhoff, and he would always be on his feet talking, and he got a lot of results despite the fact that he didn't do a lot of playing himself. Why? He was a coach and he knew how to bring out the best in the players and how to send out the players to be trained and groomed to become better versions of themselves. And that is essentially what the coach does. Now, apart from the game of sports, observers began to notice that even top leaders at the workplace, at the marketplace, and even in ministry, and even parents seemed lost at times. Just like some players will seem lost on the field of play, and the coach will have to yell or scream at them. Observers and researchers in human development began to feel and see that some leaders, pastors, leaders, parents, often seem lost in their day-to-day activities. So they needed a coach. They needed someone that would sometimes ask them a question. If need be, scream at them. All right, but it's not going to be a screaming time today, all right? So, and what did we then have? Voila! We now have what is known as executive coaching. Executive coaching was born from that observation alone. And beyond executive coaching, which is coaching that is reserved for executive leaders of corporate organizations, pastors, and big guys, we now have what we call life coaching, leadership coaching, parenting coaching, and guess what? Even pet coaching. All of these are different types of coachings that have emerged, you see, and the coaching industry, it has actually become an industry now. It is not just about training. We've had a lot of training over the years. You see, but in this, when it comes to coaching, it is not just the training by itself. You have the training and the person, and the person. The training by itself is a course, but when a course merges with a person, then it becomes a coaching program. And that is where acceleration comes in. Can you see that? All right, so today, coaching is an everyday thing. It has become a huge multi-billion-dollar industry. And you find people, every kind of coach nowadays, you see. So, and that is crucially important. So coaching has become like a salt. It's now like a salt used in everything. Sometimes it could be overdone, but absolutely essential when used well. So that is a very, very strong pointer for you to note. Many Christians haven't quite gotten used to this. Why? Because we are spoiled in churches. We're spoiled. We have pastors preach their hearts out, scream, yell, pray, anoint people with oil, give the communion, and do all of this from the goodness of their heart, the well-intentioned motives in their hearts. And because of that, a lot of Christians don't go beyond that, but it is needful for us because even the pastors themselves need coaches and they need to be coached. You see, I remember years ago when I pastored in Lagos, Nigeria, pioneered the church, we often would go for coaching timeouts, ask questions, get drilled, and that would always keep us at the leading edge of our sharp edges, all right? And that is crucially important for you to know. In whatever else you do in your own lifeline and timeline, all right? So Why the explosion of coaching in our days? Why do we have so much of them? Why do we have it in the different areas of our lives? Well, the answer is simple. People are stuck. Yes. You say, how can people be stuck? Like, with all the exposure, with all the knowledge, with everything going on, yes, people are still stuck. People are still stuck. For instance, you have a book in your heart, but have you written it? Have you written it? Why? You are stuck. You have a desire to write it, but you're with somebody said, I'm waiting. Oh, I'm going to write this book when I retire. I said, when you retire? When you retire? Why? He's just procrastinating. Why? He's stuck. You have a desire to do or run an online educational program to inspire people. Why are you not doing it? Because you are stuck. It's called being stuck, being stagnant. But you see, the good thing about being stuck or being stagnant is that God can come to you even when you don't expect it, even when you don't know that is what is happening. Just like today, this can just be an opportunity, a wake-up call for you to rise up from that particular situation, to be able to harness yourself even beyond your 9-to-5 jobs. You see, you've got to understand that your jobs will pay you your salary, but the real income that merges with an inner knowing of fulfillment comes when you are doing your real work, your real vocational work. Can you see that? So people are stuck, and that is why you need a coach. What will the coach do? The coach will grab you by the hand and pull you up. The coach is not going to massage you. The coach is not going to pamper you. The coach is not going to give you a lot of prophetic words for you to scream amens to, like we do in churches. And that is good for inspiration. But when it comes to implementation, you need more than that. You need more than that. Okay? And that is why that is exactly what I'm trying to point you to today, especially in this month in our ministry. All right? So we live in a world of endless options, shiny distractions, and decisions that feel like navigating a minefield with flip-flops. How cool can that be when you try to navigate a minefield with flip-flops? Wow, that's risky and that's not effective. People know a lot of things. There are two types of knowledge: horizontal knowledge and vertical knowledge. Horizontal knowledge is when you know a little bit of everything in the world. But vertical knowledge is when you go deep on a particular subject matter. A lot of people have horizontal, shallow knowledge of pretty much everything. But shallow knowledge cannot give you that gravitas for implementation. Yes, it will only energize you to have an idea of what to say when people are talking, and that is good because you should really have a little bit of everything, but you must have your competence. In your area of competence, you must dig deep. You must have vertical knowledge there. All right? So crucially important. We live in a world of endless options, shiny distractions, and decisions that feel like navigating a minefield with flip-flops. And guess what? You add to that a crisis of purpose, workplace burnout, quarter-life crisis, midlife crisis, and post-life retirement and confusion. All of these things are things hovering up in people's minds all of the time. And at the end of the day, people lose focus, get disoriented, and lose the vim and vigor to implement what they know they should be implementing. The pursuit of greatness is in the actual pursuit, not in the talking of it. Yes, there is a place when you have to talk it so that your brain will be rewired. But if you get stuck at that place of just talking it and not implementing it, then it's not going to show. It's not going to work. All right? Crucially important. In other words, what I'm saying is people need help. People need help. People need help. People need help in our day-to-day activities, in our day-to-day lives. We need help. You need help. I need help. We need help. And that is where coaching comes in. Coaching comes in. I was coaching a dear lady years ago, and she thought her problem was marketing. So she spent all of her time, years, just reading about marketing, but wouldn't start anything. Then I said, what truth are you not owning up to yourself? That was a coaching question I asked her in our first session. I said, what truth are you not owning up to yourself? Then she beat about the bush, and eventually it dawned on her. Clarity came. She said, I am simply afraid of failing again. While she had done a lot of training courses and all whatnots before then, now she was afraid of failing again. And because of that, she buried herself in researching on marketing without implementing any. So she now cut it that, well, as much as she's researching in the marketing thing, she has to experiment with her findings to see which one is working. All right? So somebody, for instance, is trying to start an online program, hasn't even started doing anything, but is thinking of what to sell and what not to sell. No, you just start. You just start doing whatever you were able to do at that point. All right? Because whatever you sell and whatever people would want will follow in due course. And you get to this point of realization when you get a coach. So people need help, and make no mistake about that. And this sort of help is not from someone who will do it for them while they hide at the corner screaming amen, but from someone who will say, you can do it. Yes, you can. You've got what it takes. You can do it. And here is how to think about doing it. Because everything, the difference between the rich and the poor, in my book, Rich Mind, Poor Mind, I talked about the difference between the rich and the poor, essentially in their thinking pattern. The rich man thinks in a certain way, the poor man thinks in a certain way. You see, so that difference in thinking is what a coach would implant in you. And years ago, I hired a coach to show me how to, how to create videos, you see. And eventually, he said a few things that programmed my mind in a certain way. And when my mind got programmed rightly, he didn't need to follow through with me to check me on an everyday basis. I knew exactly what to do. And from doing the first one, the second one, and here we are today, all right? So you need someone who can say, yes, you can do it, and here's how to think about doing it. And that is why coaching is not consultancy. A consultant will do it for you. You pay the consultant, and the consultant will do it for you, and those are the consultant comes in with a solution package to a problem you have in your organization. And that is a different thing. You see, you have a do-it-yourself, a do-it-with you, and a do-it-for-you, okay? A do-it-yourself is when you go enroll in a course or a training and you receive that knowledge. A do-it-with-you is coaching. A do-it-for-you is consultancy. Can you see that? So here we are helping reprogram your mind, holding you accountable, because accountability, having somebody to stay accountable to, is one of the great needs for a coach. Because sometimes you can't won't feel comfortable staying accountable to a friend or somebody who is not a professional, who may laugh at you or make mockery of you when you are still struggling at a particular phase. But a coach is trained not to do that, but to walk you through the process of transformation. Can you see that? All right, so that is crucially important. So remember that we no longer live in a world where doing one job for 40 years leads to a pension and a golden wristwatch, like our forefathers did back in those days. You work, and after 40 years of dutiful service, you get a pension and you receive a golden wristwatch for your meritorious service. The world is now fast-paced, very fast-paced. We now need to do what? We need to adapt, we need to pivot, we need to evolve, we need to reinvent ourselves more. And as we do that, we now begin to change, to the person we need to become. One of the things we teach in the advanced curriculum is you need not just to see where you are headed, but to see the person you must become to be able to get there. Remember when God said to Joshua, after the death of Moses, God said to Joshua, be strong and courageous. In other words, he told Joshua who he must become before he could lead the children of Israel to the promised land. So it is not just about seeing the promised land, you must see who you must become. He said, be strong and courageous. So in your own life, you must learn to be strong and courageous and see and envision the person you must become, the transformation that must go on within you for you to head in that direction. And that is why I say, take note of this advancement key, that your internal breakthrough will precede your external breakthrough. Yes, because before every external breakthrough, we all love external breakthroughs, but those external breakthroughs will only manifest when we have received an internal breakthrough. And these internal breakthroughs come at the behest of the right questions, coaching questions, because when I ask you a question during a coaching session, clarity comes in. And that clarity is what you need. When clarity comes, remember when clarity concerning what baptism meant, the Ethiopian eunuch, when he received clarity, he said, what is stopping me from being baptized right now? Why? He gained clarity. Instantly, when clarity comes, action becomes the inevitable response. All right? Crucially important, my friend. Crucially important. So in the face of all this, in comes coaching. With all that we said, with all of the goings on, in comes coaching. What is coaching? Coaching is the process of structured conversations that lead to powerful results. It could be a conversation of 5 minutes. It could be just for 5 minutes. Just like Moses was anointed, called of God, but he spent the whole day counseling, talking, judging, and leading the people. Then his father-in-law, who was not even a member of the covenant, was not called of God, didn't have any anointing of God, but he understood organizational leadership. So he told Moses, with the way you are running this affair, spending every day sitting down here talking to everybody on this issue, you are going to die one day. You're going to be so tired and faint and collapse and die. The man was not being disrespectful. He was just being factual. Because coaching shows you the ways of God. These are principles God already have in place. So Jethro, the father-in-law of Moses, now showed Moses how to go ahead leading the people. Remember, Moses was called of God. Who put those ideas in Jethro? I believe it's God. Who gave him the audacity to? I believe it's God. So a coach will always come your way. What you do with that response matters Moses did not say to Jethro, why do you talk to me that way? Don't you know I am called of God? Don't you know I am anointed? No, he responded wisely and changed his strategy. He changed his strategy and things began to work better and much more effectively. So that is an example of a structured conversation that led to a powerful result. That is what coaches do, my friend, and that is what I am going to be helping you achieve in this program, all right? And in our Advance Your Life coaching program. So it's not about giving answers, it's about asking the right questions. It's about asking the right questions. And when we do, what happens? Coaching would unlock clarity in our hearts and in our minds. It will build confidence within us, and it will fuel progress. It will do what? Fuel progress. It will fuel progress. Now, somebody might be asking, what on earth is advancement coaching? Advancement coaching is a derivative of life coaching, Christian life coaching, spirituality and high performance merging into one to produce a complete working machinery that is called you. Yes. So I'm glad you asked. It's not just about feeling good or setting fluffy goals that end in glitter. It is being able to advance, being able to know that this is where I am and that is where I'm heading, and these are the steps that will take me there, and I am going the full hog. In other words, we serve a God that is the God of advancement. Who said, we're told in scripture, it is the Lord that advanced Moses and Aaron and brought our fathers up out of the land of Egypt. And God is not interested, does not like it when we are circling the same mountain round about. Just like he said to Moses, ask these people, how long will they continue to circle this mountain round about? So that essentially tells us that if the absence of a coach is the absence of direction. If you leave people alone, they are ready to circle the same mountain for years, 40 years, and they are not tired of doing the same thing, circumscribing, circumventing, the same thing. Yes, you want to be a speaker, but what have you done about it? You want to be an author, what have you done about it? You want to be a coach yourself, what have you done about it? You want to set up a business, what have you done about it? You've been engaging in that wishful desire all these years, but I'm here to ask you that same question. How long will you continue to circumscribe that same mountain? It is time to go forward. Advancement is experiencing breakthroughs regardless of the obstacles. That is the forward and the upward motions of God. And that is God's idea. For the path of the just is like a shining light that shines brighter and brighter unto the perfect day. So it's not just about feeling good or setting fluffy goals that end in glitter. It is about setting goals that advance. Alright? It is about setting goals that advance. It's about helping individuals, any person for that matter, any individual for that matter, then especially high potential leaders. Why? Because the high potential leader probably has discovered his or her leadership, but now needs coaching to make it real. The commonplace individual doesn't even know anything about potential, doesn't even think that it's necessary. That individual just wants to hang in there. But I'm here to let you know that the first coaching you need is clarity to understand what you have. And that is why sometimes you are holding something that is of value, but you don't know that it is valuable. In my course, Create Wealth Wisely, the second principle we implement there is what we call leverage what you have. The first principle is find your financial identity. Yes. Then leverage what you have. Now, if you're able to do those, then you have taken a direction. In the same way, in Advance Your Life coaching, the first thing we want to do is for you to acknowledge where you are. Then acknowledge what is going on. then I acknowledge what you can do. Can you see that? And these are crucially important. So we help individuals, especially high potential leaders, thought influencers, and purpose-driven professionals move forward strategically, spiritually, and successfully. Yes. Strategically, spiritually, and successfully. Yes, because you need strategy and spirituality to enjoy what I call real success. So it's coaching. In other words, advancement coaching is coaching with a backbone. Yes, coaching with a backbone because we use the backbone of scriptures to stabilize you. To stabilize you as a bona fide principle of life. To stabilize you. It's coaching with a backbone. Say with me, advancement coaching is coaching with a backbone. Advancement coaching is coaching with a backbone. And that is again why I wrote this book, so that way it's easier for you to conceptualize. And you see, it's a 298-page book, and we have all of these things well detailed in here. And we have at the back we have appendixes that will show you how to do these things. And very soon we're going to be creating a program to certify advancement coaching programs that will certify some advancement coaches who will now be known as certified advancement coaches, so that you'll be able to do exactly what we do and be able to reach out to the rest of the world. All right, so that is crucially important for you to note and observe. All right, so advancement coaching is coaching with a backbone. Now, advancement coaching will ask questions like, what are you advancing? Yeah, what are you advancing? I asked somebody who seemed to be successful to me, what are you advancing? And he got lost. He didn't know what he was advancing. He said, well, I just do what works. But what are you advancing? Why are you stuck? There are those who don't even accept the fact that they are stuck. They think that means they are talking negative, or they are admitting to something that is negative. No, you are already stuck. If you're already stuck, then you've got to find out why you are stuck. So when you find out why you're stuck, then you suddenly realize that all you need to do is to kick whatever is stopping you. I asked somebody, what is stopping you? What is stopping you? What is stopping you? He said, my negative mind. I said, then what are you going to do about it now? She said, no, he said, I'm going to flip it away. I said, there you go. Flip it away by all means. Flip it away by all means. Yes. I told somebody, I said, do you see that you don't have any stock? You don't have anything stopping you now. You just have to keep moving. Because I asked him, what is stopping you? And he said, myself. I said, good. If you are the one stopping you, then nobody is stopping you. You just stopped moving. So what you got to do is move. Move. That's what you got to do. That clarity came because he spoke to a coach. A coach that knows his onions, that knows exactly how to ask the right questions. An advancement coach. That is what we do here. All right. So never ever forget that this is crucially important. We ask you different questions. Where do you need clarity, courage, or capacity? Where? Some are so courageous, then they get to the place of arrogance. Some are so multi-talented with a lot of capacity, then they get confused. They don't know which one to do. Yes. So we have different tools that we use, different tools that we're going to we implement, and you see the answers appear. You see the answers yourself. All right? So crucially important, my friend. Advancement coaching is tailored for those who want to grow in influence, impact, and income without losing their faith, family, or mind. There are those who will increase their influence and lose their family. There are those who will increase their impact and lose their mind. There are those who will increase in their influence, impact, and income and lose their faith. No, we don't want you to lose any of those, because those are the stabilizers of life. You have the science of success, then you also have the science of fulfillment. You can achieve all of those, but if you don't have those balances, then the fulfillment will not be there. And that is not what we want for you, because that is not what God wants for us, all right? So crucially important. In other words, spiritual coaching and high performance coaching had a baby, and that baby is called advancement coaching. That is to say that advancement coaching is a combination of spiritual coaching or Christian life coaching and high performance coaching. You see, when you combine the two, then you'll be able to talk like Paul the apostle, who said, I labored much more abundantly than they all, yet not I, but the grace of God that worketh in me. The grace of God, that's the spiritual dimension. I labored much more abundantly than they all. That is in the realms of high performance. Can you see that? You need a combination of those two to be able to have a voice in your niche or genre. All right? Crucially important, my friend. Now, here is a crucial question I want to address. Do Christians really need coaching? I mean, don't we have pastors? Don't our pastors preach awesome hot sermons every Sunday that inspire us? Don't they give us all the goodies that we need? And as a pastor myself, my heart goes out to all the doting pastors working so hard, doing their bit every day, every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. And coaching is not counseling. Pastors do a lot of counseling, and it is good, there's room for that. But oftentimes, counseling keeps people in the same spot. Yes, you pray, then do you hold them accountable for the next sets of actions? That is where coaching comes in. Can you see that now? That is where coaching comes in. So remember this, pastors are shepherds. Coaches are strategy partners. The shepherd guides you, protects you. Your strategy partner ensures that accountability in the pursuit of the strategy and the daily tactics that will make that strategy produce in the long run is aligned properly. Can you see that? Yes. Crucially important. In other words, one, that is a pastor, leads you to spiritual nourishment. The other, the coach, helps you build and navigate the terrain of life using your God-given tools. Your God-given tools. The tools God has given us. Many don't know how to use them. Many don't know how to use them. For example, the tool of our mouth. Somebody thought it's just for eating, and of course that's one of the functions. Then I asked the question, is that all you do with your mouth? He said, no, I also talk with it. I said, what do you say with your mouth? What do you say with your mouth? You nag with it? You argue with it? Or you enforce divine realities with it? Then he cut it. He said, now I know what you mean. I said, okay, what is it? He said, I'm going to be enforcing divine realities going forward. And that person's life took a beautiful dive And that is what we talk about here. Clarity, 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 and holding you accountable. All right. Crucially important, my friend. Pastors preach to congregations. Coaches partner with individuals. Coaches partner with individuals. They are not just preaching to congregations, they partner with individuals. They hold you accountable. They ask you probing questions. Sometimes the questions could be annoying. Sometimes they could be irritating. But of course, I already told you, coaching is not a massage parlor where they massage your body to feel good. No, coaching is right there and then holding you. Coaching is right there and then to hold you accountable. One time, I told you the story of the coach I hired to teach me how to make videos. And one time I created a video, I thought it was great. Then he saw, he said, no, that is, he used, I was so. But eventually when I looked at the video again, I said, oh yeah, he was right. What if I didn't have a coach? Can you see that now? You need a coach. You need a coach. You need an advancement coach. That is what we do here. That is what we do here. Your pastor may inspire you on Sunday. And that is awesome. But what happens on Wednesday? What happens on Tuesday? What happens on Thursday, Friday, Saturday? All the other days of the week, when you are trying to figure out how to launch your business, write your book, or leave that toxic job, you need someone who doesn't just know the Bible, but knows you. He knows the Bible, but he also knows you. And that is a heroic difference. He doesn't just know the Bible. He doesn't just rattle the scriptures, quoting them. He knows you. And he knows how to help you apply that scripture in your situation and circumstance. Why? Because he knows you. You've told him or her about you. Can you see that? That is another reason why a Christian who has a pastor also needs a coach. Besides this, even pastors themselves have coaches. They have coaches that coach them, that speak a word. I'm not talking about pray for them, that coach them. The prayer part is good. But you see, if the prayer part is all you solicit for, it will give you a certain measure of result. But if you understand principles can be activated because they have been programmed by God to work on their own. Can you see that? So advancement coaching isn't a replacement for the pulpit from all that I've said. It's not a replacement for your pastor. You need both your pastor and the coach. Yes, it's not a replacement for the pastor. It is an addendum. It is a supplement to the sanctuary. A coach won't give you communion, for instance, except if he's also a pastor, but he won't give you communion. But what can he help you do? He can help you communicate better. Like in my book, Speak to Advance. I have a book called Speak to Advance. If you read that book, your communication will sharpen so terrifically well. If somebody was afraid of public speaking, he got my master class on how to overcome the fear of public speaking. Just within 1 hour of listening to that master class, the fear of public speaking that he had disappeared. And he began to host a podcast right away, right from just using his cell phone. Why? He got a word in that book and talked with me. And I asked him some probing questions. Clarity came. That is what happens. So a coach won't give you communion, but they will help you communicate better. They won't anoint you with oil, but they might help you optimize your time, your energy, and your gifting. Optimizing your time, your energy, and your gifting are crucially important. For the past years, we have majored on time management. And I ask you, what about energy management? What about energy management? In my program on 40 days of self-leadership, I talked about the difference between time management and energy management. You see, many would optimize and manage their time, but in the midst of it all, they are fagged out and dissipated of energy. Can you see that? That is crucially important. All of those programs are on our website at www.advancement.university, and you can easily access them. All right, all of our books are on Amazon.com. So that's the hard copies. Some of the digital ones are also on our university website, www.advancement.university. And for those of you who also want to do some extra programs in some bachelor's, master's, or PhD programs in Christian leadership and all of that, you can also access them on our website and enroll today. All right? Crucially important. Now, it is also important while we're on this topic that the Bible is full of coaching moments. Coaching moments. I talked about Jethro coaching Moses earlier. Yes, Jethro coached Moses. Moses was superbly anointed, but that didn't stop him from receiving coaching from Jethro, who was not even anointed. Deborah coached Barak. Paul coached Timothy. And what about Jesus? Jesus, the greatest coach of all time. The greatest coach of all time. And what does a coach do? A coach evokes transformation. And Jesus said, "Come and I will make you fishers of men. Come and I will make you." In other words, come and I will transform you. The greatest coach of all. The greatest coach of all. So, never forget this. The church equips you for life and eternity. Coaches equip you to apply what you've been taught in practical, personalized, and purposeful ways. The coach says, let's turn that sermon into a strategy. And when if you're able to turn the sermon you have received into a strategy, then you begin to see the action points. Let's turn that sermon into a strategy. Yes, years ago when I pastored in Lagos, Nigeria, I ran seminars known as advancement seminars, and later those seminars became advancement strategies, and today we are still on it. It has created Advancement Christian University, Advance Your Life, our coaching program that we're currently holding and hosting, and several other things. We've published over 45 books, and all of them because of this one thing, being able to convert those sermons into strategies. It doesn't matter, you might be a pastor, you might be a parent, or anybody or anything. You might be a professional, an entrepreneur. But if you don't have a strategy for converting your knowledge base into a service or product, you don't have a means of exchange. All right? Crucially important. So the coach will say, let's turn that sermon into a strategy. And why does this matter now more than ever? Again, because we are living in a time of complexity. In a time of complexity. People are smarter now. People are more spiritual now. But why is it that they are still stuck? Because complex things are going on. Complex things are going on. And you need a way of simplifying those complex things. And one of my giftings is the capacity to simplify complex things into basic rudiments. No matter how complex it looks, we break it down to basic rudiments, and you are now able to implement them. Because if it is not broken down to basic rudiments, you wouldn't even know where to start from. You're going to be building skyscrapers even without a foundation. Is that what you want to do? No, 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 no. You see, the old models of pray and wait are now being expanded to include pray and plan, partner, and proceed. That seems better. That seems better. So you're not just praying and waiting, doing nothing. You're praying and you're planning and you're partnering to proceed. And when that happens, you have experienced what is called advancement or growth. Crucially important. In other words, advancement coaching provides the missing link between spiritual downloads and earthly deliverables. There is a spiritual download that you receive. Paul prayed that the eyes of our understanding may be enlightened to see what we have. Our inheritance is in Christ. But for them to become earthly deliverables, you need a coaching platform. And that is why I have the advanced coaching blueprint, the advanced coaching formula that will walk you from where you are to where you want to be. Crucially important. And that is essentially what we have again in this book, the Advanced Coaching Formula, step-by-step guide to overcoming limitations and achieving your next level success. Crucially important. It's hot from the press right now on Amazon, and you can get it straight. And also remember, we have a link that is somewhere on this live broadcast. In case you need to talk to us, just click that link and schedule a 15 minutes free discovery call. Yes, just for 15 minutes. Then we have, if it's going to be longer, we have some other paid time slots, all right? Because when you pay for something, you attach more values to it. That I have found out in my experience of helping people over the years. In other words, what I'm saying now is advancement coaching provides the missing link between spiritual downloads and earthly deliverables. You can fast and pray and still be broke and confused. Or you can fast, pray, and hire a coach who helps you turn vision into velocity. And that is why this month is our month of moving from that place of value to the place of velocity. From January up until now, we've created value. But in this particular month in particular, we are shifting that value with velocity. We're giving it wings to fly on. And that comes through coaching. So that way, you don't remain the same by this time next year, because you are accountable. You are accountable. So my friend, coaching isn't anti-faith like some might have been thinking or saying. It is faith with feet. Again, I say it is faith with feet. It is Proverbs 15:22 in action. What does Proverbs 15:22 say? It says, without counsel, purposes are disappointed. Without coaching, purposes are disappointed. Without somebody holding you accountable, purposes are disappointed. But in the multitude of counselors, they are established. All right? So crucially important, my friend. So coaching, my friend, has come a long way from the dusty Oxford classrooms that I talked about at the beginning of this program to the digital dashboards of online entrepreneurs and ministry leaders. It is not a fad. It is not a scam. It is a God-given, people-powered framework for advancement. It is not a get-rich-quick scheme. No, it is an empowerment of the human frontier for a greater, better, and much more valuable you to become that person God created you and endowed you to be. Can you see that? Crucially important. So whether you are a pastor, a plumber, or a podcaster, if you feel like you are called to more, want to do more, and are ready to become more, coaching is a wise investment. It is a wise investment. It is a wise investment. So, when next time someone says, you're getting a coach, isn't that what church is for? Smile, my friend, nod, and say, church gives me inspiration. My coach gives me implementation. And implementation is what the person who inspired you wants. But without implementation, inspiration will not work. And guess what? When you implement, you are naturally inspired now, because action provokes motivation, because you know that that thing works. So the next time you want to do it, you just do it because you know it works. But if you never implement it, you get inspired, and after a couple of hours, well, all the dopamines, all the neurotransmitters get reduced in the body, and you get back to reality. And sometimes you're no longer in the mood. And that's why people say, I was in the mood to do it when I was in church, when I heard that sermon, but now I'm no longer in the mood. It's because you didn't have a coach. You didn't have a coach. So you're not accountable. There are few individuals who, on their own, can just do stuff without a coach. But over 90% of people, research shows, need a helping hand. They need a helping hand. So smile, nod, and say, church gives me inspiration. My coach gives me implementation. And then go change your world. One powerful conversation at a time. And that is why I am inviting you to take advantage today of our free 15-minute discovery call. In this call, we'll help you discover with clarity what is your current nuance, what is your current stalking point, what is your current stagnating point, and if you're not in a stagnating point, then what the next frontier, the next voyage you want to embark on. Yeah, because the path of the just is like a shining light that shines more and more unto the perfect day. It's going to be more and more from one level of glory to a higher level of glory. Can you see that? If that is not your experience, then you're stuck. And that is what we're here for, to help you. You don't have to be ashamed of that. Some are stuck just because of the shame of what they have gone through. Some are stuck because they are so embarrassed of their previous experiences of failure. Some are stuck because they don't know what to do, just plain ignorant. Different reasons why people are stuck. But you see, clarity comes when you speak to an advancement coach. All right? And that is why I'm inviting you to, that link is there somewhere. Click on it and feel free to book for this chit chats. Remember, coaching is structured conversation. All right? So in this call, you will gain clarity. You will gain what? Clarity concerning how to advance to the next level. So I ask you to come on board, my friend. Come on board, 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 come on board. Come on board, come on board, come on board, come on board. Come on board, come on board, come on board. Come on board, come on board, come on board. Come on board, come on board, come on board, come on board. Crucially important to come on board at this time. And in case you are not seeing the link, then this is the link. So click the link to schedule a free call and engage in this need for clarity. All right? And also remember, while we're on this, to get a hold of my new book. It's on Amazon right now. In the course of the week, we're going to introduce the digital copy. The Kindle version is also on Amazon, but there are those who don't even have the Kindle app, so they just want ebook. So we're going to have the ebook on our university website before the week runs out. All right, so go ahead and order it. It is the Advanced Coaching Formula. The Advanced Coaching Formula. the advanced coaching formula. Crucially important. And here is the book, and you can see it, it's real. And one of the things we do is we have a tool here called Reality Mapping Tool. And in the Reality Mapping Tool, we use it to map your reality. And you know exactly what is going on in your situation, all right? For example, when God asked Adam, Adam, where are you? That's a reality mapping tool right there then. But we use this tool to help you know exactly where you are. Was it that God didn't know where Adam was? No. God wanted Adam to acknowledge where he was. That's the first thing you got to do in the world of advancement. For you to advance to the next level, you've got to start from the needful. All right? So go ahead and get a hold of this book one more time, and go ahead and click the link and order the book and schedule a call. Until I come your way again, I say to you, keep advancing. I am your good old friend, Dr. Ike Wambie, your advancement coach, saying to you, keep advancing. This is not the time to quit, but this is the time to move forward, march forward, and make progress. God bless you.